Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the CanadianGameDevs.com podcast, episode number 159. We're 10 away, Steve. 10 away from a big milestone. This is a weekly show covering all the games made in Canada and the people who create them. My name's Steven, but it's spelled Stefan with a PH and an A, but we say Steven. Joining me, of course, one of the other main dudes, the other main dude behind CanadianGameDevs.com, Steven with a PH and an E, but we say Steve, and no one gets confused. Ever. How's it doing, Steve? Why did I say that twice? I don't know.
Because I think you thought it sounded weird, and then you gave it another shot.
I was like, oh, yep, still sounds weird.
I'm doing all right. It was a crazy week at like my actual like real job, and I was just so exhausted that I didn't even stay up for the Raptors game last night. I went to bed at halftime.
Good, it was good.
And did we get fries today?
Yes, we get fries today. Go get your fries and eat them. Salt them with the tears of your loss.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not like heartbroken. Like I'm just like whatever. Like we got the chip. We went pretty deep. Siakam just played like total ass. He needs to get better.
Wasn't there that there's I have barely followed basketball and the Raptors at all. I watched maybe half a game last season, and it was the one they won. And from what I can tell, there's two big conspiracy theories. One is they gave this guy this huge contract and he's not doing very well.
Mm-hmm.
And the second one is the NBA hates the Raptors and gives them like double the penalties of every other team.
Yeah, so the first one is off of Pascal Siakam. So he has a pretty good story. You know, he was a high draft pick and was most improved player last year and was an all-star this year. He signed a big contract at the beginning of this year. Mm-hmm. So he's not getting his big nut this year. He's still on his rookie scale contract, but next year is when it kicks in. And we're talking about like he made like $2.5 million this year, and he's going to make like $25 million or something next year.
Good money.
And he just the whole bubble he just didn't play that well, and people were kind of wondering like, was he just playing well because of Kawhi Leonard, who's one of the best players in the league that we had last year? And he still played well. Like he was an all-star this year without him, so he has it in him. He just really did not perform at all during the bubble. But I think he has it in him to kind of really come about that. The second thing is like it's like a common thing because like NBC and TNT and all these stations don't really get like the Canadian, like they don't get good ratings when Canadian teams are involved. Right. Because it goes to like Rogers or whoever.
The market and so, for NBA's American viewers.
Yeah, exactly. And so like the biggest ratings are always like local based off the teams. Like if it's going to be a Lakers versus Boston finals, like the two biggest markets are going to be LA and Boston, like without a doubt. Mm-hmm. And so the theory is like this conspiracy theory is that like the refs like shit on the Raptors and stuff like that because truthfully like the NBA doesn't like they make more money if it's not a Canadian team, but I don't really like buy into that. Like, actually, the Raptors kind of got way more calls their way in Game 6. I didn't really watch Game 7, so I can't. Really
Game 7, it was tough. Like they were like back-to-back fouling and losing like 4-point chunks. Like it was really painful. That's the one thing I don't like about watching basketball. It just slows down to a crawl for like a minute or two while they set up a free throw, and I was like, eh.
Yeah, the last in a tight game, the last couple minutes can be really drawn out like extremely, and it's kind of annoying sometimes if you don't really like care that much about it.
Well, you're incentivized to waste your whole shot clock if you're winning.
Yeah,
like they just wait at the half line and dribble for like 18 seconds and then shoot.
Yeah, which is one of the reasons why I hate NCAA football or basketball so much, because their shot clock is like 35 seconds.
Oh my god,
which is just so like I don't like college.
That's
basketball.
Bad game design, Steve.
Yeah, exactly. They need a gameplay designer to go in there and switch it up.
I'm always curious about that because I've read about the like NHL's like game workshop where they have pros come in and they test new rules and tweak things and then institute the new rules next season once they get approved, like the new icing call where you don't actually have to touch it and stuff. And they're just trying to design the best game, and that sounds like really fun.
Yeah, each league kind of does it a little bit differently. Like baseball has such a huge depth of minor league stuff that they just test all their rules in minor leagues. Football actually, like, they all get together at the end of the season, and like each team is allowed to like submit like 2 or 3 rule changes or something like that, and they vote on them. and like usually every single year there's like 2 or 3 that kind of go into effect and stuff like that. So each
Very
league kind of handles
democratic.
it. Yeah, which is weird because NFL is like the worst. Got
Yeah,
worst
it was pretty
goddamn sport
garbage.
ever.
Apparently
I
FIFA's the
love
worst.
football.
Isn't
I love
FIFA the
football,
worst?
but
Like they have the
yeah,
most like insider trading and corruption and stuff.
yeah. I mean, and it shouldn't be surprised that's true because FIFA also has the most money running through it.
Mm.
I mean, they're all terrible. But I mean, football, like of the American ones, like NFL is like the worst sport ever. But I love fantasy football and football in general. But I hate the NFL. But anyways,
You know what we also love, Steve?
Canadian games.
And our patrons. Of course, CanadianGameDevs.com is supported by our amazing patrons, who we've got 2 new ones this week over at patreon.com/CanadianGameDevs. You can back us there for special 2-day early access to the podcast, a Patreon exclusive channel on our Discord, occasional game key giveaways, discount codes for Canadian gaming events all around the country, and the knowledge that you're helping us keep the lights on, as well as new tiers with merch through Patreon's new merch thing where they handle all that. And for a limited time, limited being, however many Steve has left in his living room, if you sign up, we'll throw in some of the old merch because we just want to get it out of Steve's house.
I have a decent amount of it.
Decent stack, yeah. We got hats, sweaters, stickers are the new one through Patreon. And
Is that set up now? Did you set that all up?
not yet. So I'm trying to I'm very scared to hit publish, so I have it like as a draft, and I just want to triple check that it's what I want before I hit publish.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, and I also didn't work on that as much as I wanted to this week, but I have all day and tomorrow to do that. So don't worry by the time you're listening to this, patrons. And if you're an existing patron, you could check out the new tiers, maybe up your tier, or if you want a sticker. Yeah, sticker will be the new merch if you are a patron who likes putting stickers on things, as I do.
I do as well.
You should see my laptop. I have this like big planter I have a snake plant in. It's covered in stickers. It's awesome.
Heather's
It's like that
laptop.
under skateboard 90s aesthetic,
Oh yeah, Heather's laptop has a bunch of Naruto stickers. I have
I think
one
you
for
mean
my
Naruto,
work.
Steve, you fake fan.
Naruto. I have a work one, and then I also have one from our wedding. We made a sticker that is "It's dangerous to go alone. Take this."
Aw.
And it was like we had pie like cookies that had the mathematical symbol pi on it, and so we put the stickers on that.
I like that. I like that a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah, it was good. Heather's idea, not mine.
Heather's the real brains behind the operation, I think.
Oh yeah, I do nothing.
All that to say, again, that's patreon.com/CanadianGameDevs to help us continue doing what we do, like events, Steve. We got lots of events coming up. Canadian Games Online is happening September 17th to 18th. You can register, tune in to get matched with publishers, investors at their business-to-business connect. That is CanadaGamesOnline.com. Definitely, if you got a project you're working on, you want to practice your pitching. Even the worst thing that happens, Steve, if you sign up for this, you get practice pitching your game, and that's a pretty good thing to have. Mm-hmm. You get publishers or investors knowing your studio name, knowing your game's name, and it's all digital now. So if in-person meetings are stressful for you, digital meetings might be a little less stressful. I don't know what stresses you out, but definitely check that out. And Game Slice is happening again this week. This is the 4th or 5th year they're doing it. It's usually in London, Ontario, sponsored by Digital Extremes and a few other studios there. But this year it's all online. There will be a digital show floor. I'm loving these show floors. Gamescom did it. Amaze in Berlin did it. And it's just like you make an avatar, you walk around, you can play demos, watch trailers, talk to developers. So they're doing that. I got to look at that. It's a nice, definitely Unity default texture pack, but that's okay because it gets the job done. That is September 16th, 5 to 9:30 p.m. Eastern. We should go, Steve. One of us should drop in, say hi, check out what games are there so we can add them to segments.
I'm done.
Lastly, next Friday, or I guess this Friday, September 18th, is Game Dev Atlantic. We got patrons talking there. Friends from the Discord will be speaking there. It's all online. It'll be 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern time, 9 to 9 Atlantic time. You can also, if you're around here, sign up for the in-person little social that's happening in the evening. I'm going to be there with some friends from Red Meat Games. So if you want to meet me, say hi, definitely sign up for that. And yeah, maintain Give me my meter space, 2 meters, and we'll chat. I can shout. You can shout. We can all shout.
Are you going to wear Red Meat Games swag, or are you going to wear Canadian Game Dev swag?
I'm wearing my Canadian Game Dev sweater with my Red Meat shirt underneath. So midway through the evening, I'll rip it off, and we got the best of both worlds. You know?
There you go. Nice work. Nice work.
Thank you. Lastly, Game Devs of Color Expo just announced, Steve. Very excited about this. No More Robots, a publisher in the UK, I think, or Europe. I don't know. It's all one big country. Is doing a $75,000 grant for indie game devs of color. So I think they're doing it in, I don't want to mess it up. It's like either 15 or 5 of whatever that divides into. There's a lot of spots in this grant program to get your game funded by No More Robots. A very, very good publisher and a good follow on Twitter too. I love their work. They break down a bunch of Steam details and, will chart the success of indies on Steam. What's the best way to get your game noticed in the algorithm? They're super cool. Of course, Game Devs of Color Expo is also going to have workshops, talks, a whole bunch of stuff going on. So you can tune into that. But if you're an indie game dev of color who's listening and wants some money for your game, this is the opportunity. You got a week to get that ready and get in, and I strongly encourage you to do so. Excellent.
I like it.
We had last year when Red Develop or whatever went to Banff, we plugged it in the Discord, and one of the students in our Discord went and got to go for free. They applied and did the thing, went to Banff in Alberta, BC, and got to go to all the talks, meet people, network, and it was great. So that always makes me so happy, Steve, when it's so easy to just bring something up to someone and then they run with it and it works out for them.
Yeah, I remember that. It's always nice when the site works, like what we're trying to do, and just helps people and get into the industry and all that stuff. So join the Discord. Maybe we're close to 1,000 people. I noticed the other day.
Yeah, I think we're gonna hit it like 10 or 15 people join every couple days, so we'll hit it we're on track to hit 1,000. Also, there was someone who joined our Discord who said they noticed they were getting a bunch of traffic from our website, and so they found the Discord that way. They were like, what is CanadianGameDevs.com? And then they clicked through and oh, that's cool. And they're like, you're sending a bunch of people our way. I was like, awesome. I love when it works.
We're at 974.
You could be number 1,000 listening to this right now.
Maybe we'll give a free. Should we do that? No, I'm not going to say that.
Nah, because then people won't join until there's 1,000.
Oh, that's a good call.
Yeah. Speaking of working, we have 3 studios looking to hire you. Yes, you listening to this. First up, Canuck Play, of course, purveyors of fine digital football games and upcoming unannounced games, are looking for a full-time senior Unity game developer, a full-time Unity game developer, a full-time character technical animator, and a full-time 3D modeler. All of these are in studio at their Peterborough office, so if you can get there and you want to work on football and other exciting new open-world adventure games, you should apply. Next, we have Sleeping Giants in Toronto, Ontario. They are looking for a character animator rigger, if that's something you'd be interested in doing, and working at a cool studio with free donuts, bagels, and other hold foods, as well as a great, fun workplace. You should check that out. That's at that Toronto studio. I think they said they're open to remote because everything's kind of whack right now.
I think it was remote to begin with because they don't have an office yet, I think, if I recall.
Maybe. Actually, it's not. I don't see that in our listing, but I'd assume there'd be, if you're on the other side of the country and you're like, hey, COVID, and they'd be like, yeah, we can still work on this.
Yeah, sure.
Lastly today, Alpha Channel in Toronto, Ontario, and in our Discord are looking for a gameplay designer, a level artist, a level designer, a technical artist, a gameplay programmer, AI programmer, all of which are working in Unreal Engine, and all of which would like you to have access to their Toronto studio. So if you want to check out any of those jobs, that is CanadianGameDevs.com/jobs. Nice. All right, Steve, let's do some news, because a lot of it is just game releases, which, it's the fall. 'Tis the season. Everything's coming out except the PS5. First up, huge release, Steve. Star Renegades. is finally out. It's on Game Pass, which I didn't know was going to be on Game Pass. I was extremely happy to open up Game Pass. It is, Steve, right?
Oh, it's sick.
By Toronto-based indie developer Massive Damage, with publishing support from Raw Fury, the awesome Nordic publisher of fine games like Goner and upcoming Backbone, another Canadian game. Star Renegades is a strategy RPG about outsmarting AI-driven adversaries, forging friendships, and toppling galactic empires spanning across alternate worlds. So the premise for this game is really interesting to me, Steve. It's a roguelite with the T. There you go for you. And the way they do the runs thing is like you go to one of the alternate worlds and you work until you lose there, and then you give up on that world and go to a new one, and you try and save that world. And so it's kind of the Avengers Endgame approach. You're like, shit, this timeline's messed up. Let's bail to one where Gamora's alive and then try and save that timeline. And I really like, that's just a really fun like premise for a roguelite instead of die. Well, the Rogue Legacy one was like the first one where they tried to make the rogueliteness make sense, where they're like, this is your kid. And that's why you go back to the same setting. Or I guess the first game to do that would be Infinity Blade, the Apple game. I don't know which came out first, but
I forgot about Infinity Blade.
Yeah, it's off the App Store now because the Epic lawsuit. Fun fact.
Oh, that's not fun.
No, it's a terrible fact. But yeah, anyway, Star Renegades has an amazing premise. Like every single animation frame in this game is gorgeous. They really like, they are very vocal about like, we went overboard. We would not do it this way again if we had a choice, because once you start making character sprites with like dozens of animation frames, to keep consistent, you have to keep doing that. And so they kind of really push to make the detail in this game consistent, and it shows, but it also seemed like a mountain of work.
I'm downloading right now if you want to play the download song.
I'll play the download. I have a little sound effect I use.
Yeah, maybe I'll try to stream it tonight.
Yo, you totally could. We have you set up on the computer now, and your computer's not
loud as hell.
Loud as hell, yeah. Shout out to Cloud for tuning into the. Or I guess they changed their name. I think it's David now. No,
I think Dave. Yeah.
Yeah, tuning into Steve's Avengers stream and saying your TV's too, or your PS4 is too loud. I'm sorry.
It's like it's such, and so I cleaned it. Like I opened it up and just sort of wiped it away because I didn't have compressed air, but I just bought some. So I'm going to clean up and just see, but yeah, that was annoying. But I'm going to try, if I can clean it out and get it sounding nice. I do want to stream Marvel's Avengers more, but Star Renegades, I'm downloading that right now. I didn't know it was on Game Pass. That's sick.
Me neither. All these great games, Spiritfarer, Canadian Indie on Game Pass, and now Star Renegades. Huge.
Yes, I still haven't played Spiritfarer, and I want to play more
Undermine.
Undermine was so good. You know what? I want to uninstall. Oh no, yeah. I want to uninstall Master Chief Collection.
Yeah, you don't need that. The other thing I've found interesting about these games coming to Game Pass is I think the reviews on Xbox are often more favorable than on Steam, because Steam critics or people on Steam are spending money. They're very value focused. They're very, how many dollars per hour of gameplay. But the approach to Game Pass, like Netflix, is like, I'm just going to like browse around for a bit. Oh, I'll download this one. Oh, it was fun. 5 stars. And I've noticed that trend, I think, of when you're not directly purchasing something, you're a lot more generous in your review. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, if there's no monetary aspect to it, then it's just sort of like, if something is like, I could see why it's being good, but it's not for me, you're like less angry about it, right? So that's definitely been something on Game Pass where I'm just like, I can see why people like this, but whatever. All it cost me was some hard drive space and some download speed for a little bit, but that makes sense. I wonder if that's like playing into Metacritics and things like that. I guess it would just be playing into user reviews.
Yeah. So Star Renegades is currently out on Steam, Xbox, Game Pass, and I don't think it's on consoles yet. I think it's coming to Switch, PS4, Xbox One later.
That being said, it does have a very positive score on Steam.
It does. It's at 3. Yeah, you're looking at 2. Yeah, let's find a funny one. Hold on. I want to sort by funny. Oh God. All right. Imagine combining the Nemesis system from Shadow of Mordor with Darkest Dungeons, resting and exploration, Battle Chasers combat, and Fire Emblem's relationships. That's not funny. That's just really informative.
Yeah, that all sounds like really great, actually.
Yeah, you just what if all
That's
these
a
really
great
great
review.
games? Wait, it has a Nemesis system?
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
That's because I remember when Shadow of Mordor came out and everyone was like, oh my god, this is the future open world games. Or like these NPC characters who like remember you and evolve and change with you, and no one did it.
No one did it afterwards, except for the sequel, I'm guessing.
Yeah, Shadow of War. But the Shadow of War also shoved a whole bunch. They had goblin loot boxes. I was so... Oh, anyway.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was bad.
Wasn't there something to, like, someone on the team died, like, before the game came out, and then they had, like, some sort of thing, like a cosmetic or something that you can buy to donate to, like, whatever he died of. But then it was found out that, like, 30% of it would still be going to the...
You know what? I do remember that.
Something along those lines. It was very, like, shady. People were like, wait, what?
Ooh. Yeah, let's... All right, here's a fun one. There's clearly a lot to this game. Is it gorgeous with a fun combat system and soundtrack that claps? Yes. I've only played 0.7 hours, so take that with 9.3 grains of salt. That wasn't even that funny. I'm sorry. The funny filter failed me.
It's okay. Don't worry about it.
Star
I'm excited to play,
Renegades.
though. I'm going to try to play. I definitely play it before the next podcast, but I'm going to try to stream it tonight, too. See what's up.
Yeah, currently PC, console, TBD. All right, next game. Release date, not out, but Doug Flutie's Maximum Football 2020 is hitting Xbox One and PlayStation 4 September 25th. If you buy the game on Xbox One, you'll get the free upgrade to the Series X. They're currently working on that with PlayStation, they've said. No update. That's it. You like football? You like not giving EA money? You should give Doug Flutie's Maximum Football your money, because it'll be $29.99 digitally US. It's also just better value, I would argue.
Yeah, budget title. And if you follow them on Twitter too, they've gone over like all the improvements they've gone throughout the years. I mean, this is now the 4th title, so good on them. And
At Max Football Game on Twitter for that.
Yep. September 25th, 5 days before my birthday.
I'm drinking a lukewarm, very melted iced coffee.
Ooh, I had a Coke Zero that I just finished.
Excellent. We're both on the caffeine train. Wait, Coke Zero doesn't have caffeine, does it? No, it's 0 calories. That's why it's 0, right?
Yeah, it does have caffeine. Carbonated water, caramel color. Caffeine's like very far down the list of things.
Okay.
In fact, it's the last thing before it starts speaking in French.
Indeed. Lastly today, Steve, a game I'm pretty stoked for, from Montreal-based indie publisher and developer Kitfox Games, the kings and queens of game dev TikTok, in my opinion, have announced Lucifer Within Us, coming October 15th. This is a game we've highlighted on Wishlist This before, but in Lucifer Within Us, quote, "You are a digital exorcist seeing beyond this reality into alternate timelines of the accused. Solve murders, purify the possessed, and purge their demons in this non-linear mystery." Also a great Steam page with lots of great GIFs detailing how this works. But basically, there's like a timeline at the bottom, right? So you can picture like a YouTube video timeline you can scrub through. But the timeline is really deep, and every layer of there's rows, like in an audio editor or something, and each row is what that character is doing at that point in time during the course of the events that lead up to this murder and shortly after. And so basically you're scrubbing through this timeline, looking at what different people are doing, interacting with them, trying to figure out who did this and how do we purge them. It's a great premise, and I think has a lot of potential to enter that weird indie echelon of murder mystery games like The Sexy Brutale, or that's really the only one I can name that did really well. And I'm really interested in this. What do you think, looking at this game?
Yeah, I mean, I remember talking about this one for on our, like, when we did the wishlist list. I'm down with it because it also has like that Phoenix Wright feeling to it. That's where
that's another one.
Yeah, that's what appeals to me. I'm intrigued. So October 15th, 15 days after my birthday.
There you go. 8 days after mine. Lots of great Canadian games coming out. That's it for the news. Also, I learned this week, Steve, that Cyberpunk is getting development support from a Vancouver studio. So there's a Canadian angle there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I forget. Oh, geez, I should have paid attention to which studio it was. It was one of the Vancouver studios. I think it was... I'm going to mess it up. Yeah, but anyway, I went to their website and it was like current project Cyberpunk 2077. I was like, what? And they were like, we're working on, and it was just a giant list of all the support they're doing on.
Are they doing the multiplayer part of it, or?
It's unclear how much they're currently working on the single player too. Like it looked like they were doing testing, animation, stuff like that. So their involvement appeared to be heavy. I really got to find this because it was like, wow, you guys are.
Just try to get codes.
Yeah. There's a Canadian. Yeah, Digital Scapes Studios Limited in Vancouver. Currently working on the video games, console and PC development, multiplayer gameplay programming, combat and mission design, animation, production tools, cloud services, analytics, and R&D. So they're doing a lot.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's impressive. And, this just goes to show you that even the games that you think are Polish, not related to Canada at all, we're in there like maple syrup seeping into the toast. The toast is a video game.
I gotcha.
Cool. Let's move on to everyone's favorite segment, Steve. Wishlist This. Of course, longtime fans of the show will remember when Brett, before he passed away, was still with us and would wishlist games while we were talking about them. Steve would as well. And so this prompted me to come up with this segment where I highlight 3 upcoming Canadian-made games that you can wishlist in some capacity, because now that we've introduced the Apple wishlist, it's no longer just Steam, and they have to do it right now. Sound good, Steve?
Sounds great.
First game for you today, Warhammer Age of Sigmar from Gasket Games in Vancouver, BC. It's currently scheduled for 2021. Gotta do the movie theater guy voice. The first strategy video game adaptation of Age of Sigmar's dark fantasy universe. Lead your highly customizable force, unlock new units, equipment, and skills in this dynamic, turn-based game packed with fast-paced warfare. I personally don't know a whole lot about Warhammer. I've watched people at shops I go to sit there and paint them and then, juke it out with music playing. Looks super nerdy. I don't know what your experience with Warhammer has been, Steve.
Very similar. There was like a PS3 game that was sort of like just like a hack and slash, like a Devil May Cry type of thing. I remember playing, but I had no idea what was happening. I know nothing about the lore of Warhammer. And the turn-based got me going though. Is like I'm looking at this video, just trying to see if it's a turn-based RPG or what, or if it's like a Fire Emblem type of thing. But still investigating.
The publisher is Focus Home Interactive, who also published Shipbreaker, that other Vancouver game where you're like taking apart derelict spaceships, which is developed in Vancouver. So Focus Interactive, despite being a European publisher, dipping into the Canadian scene, kind of like Raw Fury. Interesting to note. The Steam page currently leaves a lot to be desired. There's no GIFs and like a couple paragraphs and some bullet points, but that's okay. There's still time. It's a year away. There's a pre-purchase discount of 15%, so you can get it for $45 Canadian, or just add to your wish list to find out when it's live in 2021. They say early 2021, but in the age of COVID, take every release date with a 6 to 12 month buffer.
Yeah, I mean, I know nothing about this series, but like the trailer doesn't show gameplay, and the screenshots I can't really get a sense of gameplay. I can't tell if this is like a. If I had to guess, just based off of what I know about the toys and all that shit, I would imagine it's like a Fire Emblem type of strategy RPG.
It's turn-based. That's in the description. But other than that, turn-based strategy, turn-based tactics, and strategy are the top pins. Top-down fantasy, PvP, multiplayer, workshop are the other pins. So there might be custom user content for this game, which would be cool.
Nice. I mean, it looks cool.
I have to ask Steve, is Warhammer Age of Sigmar : Stormground on your wish list?
Yes, it is.
Excellent. Next
I'm gonna
game.
briefly look up that the PS3 game that I played.
I feel like I've played one too. There's a Dungeons and Dragon ones we covered that was announced. No, was it D&D? The Dark Alliance one that's developed by a Quebec studio.
Yeah, that's like a hack and slash. It's yeah. I don't think it's called Dungeons and Dragons, but it's based off of Dungeons and Dragons, I believe.
Right. Okay. That's
Oh,
another
here it is.
one I remember.
Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine. That's what I played.
Oh, I can picture the cover. It's that huge Gears of War looking guy, right?
Probably. Yes.
Yeah.
Kind of looks like it.
Yeah. Okay. Next game today on Wishlist This, currently in early access on Steam, Smush.tv. We talked about it a bit on the news section before, but never in the wishlist. The first hyper-competitive PC versus VR action strategy game, bringing the spirit of competitive fighting games into VR through fast, heart-thumping gameplay. Remote play together enabled. So the remote play feature is something Steam rolled out last year that lets you play same screen games together, but over internet, and Steam just handles everything. And they really pushed it with Cuphead. You could do the co-op together if just one person owned the game, because you only needed when you have the game on any platform, you play on the same screen. Mm-hmm. So they were really pushing that as a way to get, more people trying games. And obviously, if someone tried Cuphead and was like, hey, I like this, they'd be more likely to buy it. So Smush.tv also features that. So if you have the game and your friend has VR and you're like, hey, do the VR role of this and I'll do the PC role and we'll fight each other. And that's, I think, the idea here. And it's really smart. Anytime you have a multiplayer game that you can get more people in to try for free and only have one person need to buy it, the better. So I think it's a smart strategy. It's by Siberian Studios. I didn't say Gasket Games is in Vancouver. I think I might have said that. But anyway,
I think you said it.
Smush.tv is by Siberian Studios in Toronto. And what do you think of this Steam page, Steve? You weren't hot on the name, but as we discussed, names are hard.
Oh, names are very hard. I couldn't come up with a better name. So, it looks cool. I like how it's like all neon-y and stuff. But I'm confused at what you do in it, because I see someone like kind of shooting a bow and arrow, but then there's like Tetris pieces and shit falling. So
I think just looking at the screenshots, the PC player is dropping the blocks, kind of like Tetris, and they can see on a grid where the VR player is. And the VR player is trying to dodge and climb up the blocks to escape at the top, kind of like Catherine. And they have some weapons they can use to destroy the blocks. And yeah, it looks like the PC player is playing Tetris, but not to like clear lines, to like kill or smush.tv. I guess that makes sense. The VR player. Sure. The VR player is looking up, jumping, climbing around, trying to get to the top and out.
Yeah, okay. I see what you're saying now. I like it. That's good. That's cool, actually. That's just like a neat kind of merge of games. It's cool.
Yeah,
I don't have VR though.
I think there's like a grapple hook from one of these. It looks like you like, as the blocks are falling, you can like grapple to it and then jump to a block that's already hit the ground, which that just sounds really fun in VR.
Oh, this is neat. I wish more games did this. Twitch integration. Let your Twitch chat take over the AI's powers and try to beat you with them. And it's intense chat versus VR experience unlike any other. That's cool.
Ooh. This was an official selection at the Indie Mega Booth in 2019, and it won Best VR Experience at DreamHack Atlanta 2018.
Nice.
Once again,
it's got in the early access, it has 14 positive reviews, so it's a good sign of what's going on. I don't have VR, but you know how we always say, we're always here to just help. So
it's on the wish list?
It is on the wish list.
Excellent. Last game today for Wishlist This. From a Toronto-based creator, I don't know if they're Canadian or not, but that doesn't matter, Steve. Get in the Car, Loser by Christine Love, who's doing the writing, programming, and design. She's working with a team of, I think, 4 other indie artists from Australia, Seattle, all around the world. Christine Love, of course, the award-winning narrative designer of... what was that game? It was... won a bunch of awards... Ladykiller in a Bind, a visual novel about queer relationships, and it got really steamy. But her new game, Get in the Car, Loser, is a lesbian road trip RPG about fighting for love and justice in the face of indifference and quote-unquote discovering yourself, whatever the fuck that means. That is verbatim the description. So this game doesn't currently have a Steam page yet, but if you head to their itch.io, at the very bottom, you can sign up for notification when the game comes out. Coming 2020. There's only a few months left in the year 2020. The feature, so the bullet points under the features is like active time battle system, blah blah blah, equipment based character progression, genre defying pop soundtrack, visual novel dialogue, No side quests, no maps, no codex entries. Who's got time for that when the world is in peril? And the last 2 bullet points are girls. Just girls, you know? They're great. And the next one is the disaster lesbian representation we need in 2020. What do you think of this itch.io page, Steve?
Oh, there is a trailer too that I can see. I added it to my collection in itch.io. Is that sort of the equivalent?
So collections are essentially how you could do wishlist. Like you can make a collection and just call it wishlist, but you don't really get emails about it unless you sign up for those preferences. I think they're off by default. Because it's kind of a way to just like curate the stuff you're looking at on itch.io. But at this is the first I've seen on a itch.io page. At the bottom, there's just a hyperlink to get notified when the game comes out.
The really super interesting thing too, I'm watching like the turn-based RPG part of it, is it has like the triangle, circle, square, X like from PlayStation. And I'm like, I wish it just was coming to PlayStation. I would definitely cop it. But I'll. So where do I sign? I sign up for emails?
Yeah, sign up at the very bottom. There's a sign up here. Drop your email in. They'll send you an email when the game is out. And I think you can do it through itch.io too. Like you add it to a. Well, you can follow the studio, Love Conquers All Games, and then you get an email every time they release a project. So actually, I think just following them would do the same thing. But you can also sign up for the direct email about this game.
I used our contact at CanadianGameDevs.com email, so.
Excellent. I'll play the sound effect right here. Any other last minute thoughts about this page? It's the best page of today's show, I think. Just GIFs, trailers, screenshots, lots to do.
Yeah, no, I like it. I like the art. I'm down for RPGs. It kind of like, you know, people made fun of like Final Fantasy 15 for being like the boy band RPG traveling game, and this is like the like opposite of that. So
yeah, you know what? That's a great pitch because they're driving in this pink car. I think it's a reference to Mean Girls when they like, get in.
We're going shopping. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm liking some of the enemy designs too. They look good. So.
That big like demon monster thing crawling over the edge. That looks great. It looks like there's like the kind of simpler pixel art characters during the turn-based combat, and then during like the exposition they have like much more fleshed out, more detailed. Also looks like pixel art, but they look very detailed, very personable. Lots of great facial expressions. I like it a lot. I like how it looks. It's got a good vibe. Games need good vibes, Steve.
Agreed.
All right, that's it for Wishlist This. If you want us to talk about your game, I want to talk about your game. Even if you're not Canadian, but you're working in Canada or living in Canada, or you're Canadian internationally, or there's some Canadian on your team, even if it's one, like this game, send us your game. Contact CanadianGameDevs.com. Post it in our shameless plugging channel on the Discord, and we'll talk about it. Let's move on to the latest segment, Steve, Discord discussion. This is a segment of the show where we pluck a conversation that was happening in our Discord, out of our Discord, and hash it out right here on the show. Of course, this also ends up being whatever was topical that week, and one of those is the Xbox console price release date announcement. The Canadian price, Steve, gonna make sure I have this down. Xbox Series S launching November 10th, $379.99 Canadian. Xbox Series X launching same day, $599.99 Canadian. I want to point out, if you did a straight conversion of the US price to Canadian price, it would be $650, a little over $650 Canadian, but they're doing $600 Canadian. So they might be eating it a bit on this. I'm not sure.
Sorry, it's $599 Canadian, the Series X?
Yeah, but $399 US. And if you straight convert that, it's like $60 more. And if that's the case, they just really care about being competitive with PlayStation in Canada. And so they're going to eat a little bit on this console, I'd imagine, to make that happen.
Yeah. Those are good. I mean, those are good prices. The Series S is actually cheaper than I thought it would be. Like, I was in Walmart today, and that's how much a Switch is.
The Series S is going to launch less than a new Switch.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think Switch is $399, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty sweet. It's pretty much like confirmed that we're going to get an S, because if I was an Xbox person, I would just get the Xbox X, but it's going to just be kind of my Game Pass / Netflix machine in the bedroom. So Series, and like it's going on a place where I could use like less room for this console, whatever. So we're going to go Series S. Seemed like the Discord was pretty like positive on it. Like,
I didn't read a single bad thing about or opinion about this.
Yeah, I saw one thing where it's like apparently the backwards compatibility is going to just be running the Xbox One's version of it or something.
Yeah, the Series S is running the Xbox One's sort of software for that, whereas Series X is going to have the much more advanced software that lets you, like, if you bought a game digitally on one, just automatically upscale everything and even upscale like 360 and Xbox One games. But yeah, our Discord was super up on this, and I saw lots of people who were like, man, I was PS4 last gen, but honestly, for this plus Game Pass, it's just much more appealing to me.
Yeah, because you were saying, I didn't even know there's like a payment plan.
So this is interesting to me, Steve, and I want to double check my numbers, but the first time I ran them, it's $34.99 a month US. I forget what it is Canadian, but for that price every month until I think it's for 24 months, you get Xbox Game Pass Ultimate and the Series X up front. And after the time of the payment plan, you end up saving like $10 or $20 if you had bought the console outright and then subscribed to Game Pass every month of the payment plan. And so, like, obviously I want to read the fine print, because if it's like you miss a month, they take it away. That's garbage. But if I can just get the Series X with, and the way the Game Pass works is it stacks. So it'll just add a month every month instead of, like, replacing my current Xbox Ultimate. So I already have Game Pass Ultimate until February next year. So I'll just have it for that past when the payment plan ends. It just looks too good to me, Steve. I don't understand. Like, there's got to be an asterisk or something I'm missing, because this just seems like a really good deal for me. It's like $35 US a month, whatever that translates to Canadian. And I would already be buying Ultimate because I love the PC games. And I get the Series X. I don't understand.
Well, they just wanted you to have the console, so there might not be a downside to it. I guess the downside is really just you're locked into the Game Pass. So if there's like a month or two, like how I kind of just go in and out of it, if there's like a month or two where you don't get to play and you wouldn't like normally, because there's no like yearly Ultimate Pass, right? Like you have to kind of go month to month.
You can buy them in 3, 6, and 12-month passes, but it's essentially the same price. Whereas like sometimes the 12 months you save like $5 or $10, you know?
Yeah, so it's really just locking you in terms of like maybe you normally would have taken this month off or next month off or something like that, but you can't do that. Mm-hmm. So but honestly,
like even just in 2020, like Star Renegades this month, Spiritfarer last month, like I'm finding 2 or 3 games every month. I'm like, I would have bought this game, but it's on Game Pass.
No, for sure. And I mean, because it's Ultimate too, you get Xbox Live Gold or whatever, so you get the gold games too,
like
free
games.
Do it. I mean, you were always kind of like ho hum about getting next gen anyways, but now it sounds like you're pretty much confirmed getting Xbox.
Yeah, it just seems like the best value for me as someone who, you know, I would get a PS5 because I want the game, but if there's no games there at launch, and I have experience of buying consoles used like a year later and saving a whole shit ton of money, this just seems too good. Like, I'm so skeptical. Like, I'm gonna have to read through this FAQ to make sure it's like actually as good as it appears on its face. And does
that mean you had to like buy it from like Microsoft though? Like, is that only
no? So they're partnering with EB Games, so I would do it through.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, do it then. You should do it.
Yeah, I'll put that 40 right into the stock market for you, Steve.
Appreciate it.
But yeah, it was just and honestly, the way they handled the leaks, I saw earlier today that they had this whole video presentation planned out that leaked. And I watched it this morning. It was super dry, and it was like Phil Spencer and like this host, and they were just kind of talking about it. There was like a couple minutes of highlight sizzle reels of games, but it was like this 25-30 minute super dry spec rundown and talking about the program. But that all got kind of canceled when it leaked online, so they just put out some tweets and a blog post, and they're like, yep, here it is, whatever. And I've just been seeing positive things about it in our Discord and on Twitter.
Yeah, no one seems to be complaining. I guess like Sony today or last night or whatever announced that theirs is going to be on Wednesday. And
Wednesday, September 16th.
And it is like a 40-minute presentation.
Could you imagine getting to the end of that and there's no price or date?
Oh, they have to.
They have to. The leak currently, and from one of the credible sources who also leaked some of the Xbox stuff, is November 17th for PS5, and pre-orders go live on the 25th.
Yeah, the next week. So, I mean, that makes sense because when's Black Friday? I mean, Black Friday is kind of a game
27th,
quote unquote. So it's going to be before then.
I think it'll still be the 20th because it would make sense to launch on a Friday. But I also could see them wanting to get out on a Tuesday to, everyone who's going to buy is going to buy it day one, no matter whether it's on Tuesday or Friday. And then that gives them 3 days to get as much stock as they can on shelves for the Fridays.
Xbox is on the 10th, right? That's a Tuesday.
That's a Friday. That's the Friday before.
No, November 10th is a Tuesday.
Oh, shit. Okay. Oh, you know what? That does change things. I thought it was a Friday. Man, everyone switched to Fridays for a while. Like, even games are coming out on Fridays.
Yeah, Switch was on Friday, too.
Is Tuesday making a comeback?
Maybe. Tuesday's back, baby.
All that to say, unless I see, like, Bill Gates gets to delete my achievements if I miss a payment, I'm probably going to just get the Series X on a payment plan. Why not? And it's not even like a shitty car mortgage or something where you end up paying more over time, but it's just the risk they're taking up front to finance you. It's just, like, if you run the math, and I'm going to triple check this math, you actually just save, like, $10 by the end of it.
Yeah, it's really, I think they're just really just trying to get as many people, they just want as many people to get it, right? Because they've already kind of admitted that, like, there's not going to be games that are only on Xbox Series
Xbox exclusives are dead. It's now Microsoft exclusives.
Yeah, so I think it's just a matter of just get this thing in the house, get people using it. Like, if you're on a payment plan, you're going to think that you have to kind of like boot it up or use it because you're like, well, I paid $45 for this thing or whatever it is in Canada. So it's just like enticing people to be like, sweet, I don't have to drop like $800 and I get all these games. And then it also, like, 12 months later, you're like, I have to pay this thing again, but so I might as well use the Xbox when like whatever next games come out, like next year or whatever. Halo Infinite being the big one for sure.
And dude, like the amount of studios they bought, I know I like they bought Double Fine. I shouldn't say Compulsion, but the State of Decay studio, a few others. Like, I know I'm gonna like the Microsoft exclusive games. So and they're gonna come on Game Pass day one. Dude, every single Xbox Game Studios game is on Game Pass day one.
And Star Renegade.
And Steve, we didn't even talk about this. They announced EA Access is getting roped into Game Pass.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
Every single sports game, Mass Effect, Dragon Age, Mirror's Edge, Skate. What?
Yeah, I mean EA Access is what it's called now. Like, you get the trials at the start. So when NHL like 21 comes out, you'll get a trial of 10 hours, which like is more than enough for some people.
I can do a lot in 10 hours.
And then like 6 months later, it'll be like on the thing. So EA Access, I mean, in general, is only like $20-$25 a year anyways. But on Xbox, it's even better because you, like, on PS4, you only get the PS4 games, but on Xbox, you get like, I think like Black is on there, like the Xbox shooter, like the original Xbox, and you get like Xbox 360 games on there and stuff too. So it's like even better on Xbox. No, I mean, like, I saw that price and I was like, I'll cop that day one. I think I'll still do like just the Game Pass as I see fit, sort of thing.
That makes sense because you're going to be playing everything you can on your PS5.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, Sony's really got to like fucking step it up with PS Now and stuff.
PS Now just is embarrassing at this point.
Yeah, it's garbage. Actually, that reminds me, I gotta like not cancel it, but
turn it off for now.
Turn it off. Because it was on sale for like 1 year was like $60 or something like that, and like that's a good price. There's a lot of games on there, but I mean, when you just compare the two services, like it's no contest.
Honestly, Game Pass with Project Cloud coming out this September. We didn't even talk about Cloud. I'll be able to play every single Xbox Game Pass EA Play game streamed to my computer, streamed to anything with an internet connection in my apartment. What? This doesn't make any
iPhone.
sense. Not iPhone. Although they're currently, I read this morning breaking that Apple would let them do xCloud on the Apple ecosystem if it was still 30% of the subscription cut went to Apple. So I don't think Xbox is going to do that.
Yeah, true.
I don't understand, Steve. This absurd value props. Maybe I'm just so jaded from how sleazy games had been for the past like 5-10 years increasingly that this just looks too good to be true.
I mean, it's possible. Speaking of which, discussion.
Part 2 of Discord discussion this week. Hit me, Steve.
This was just in the Patreon thing, but the David at the Dub Fluties Maximum Football Studios Patreon, and he just kind of pointed out that Madden 21 has currently 5,000. Oh wait, actually the numbers are a little bit different, but 5,049 ratings on Metacritic user ratings. 0.2.
Is that current time?
I'm looking at it right now.
So that is the current user review score as of 4:20 p.m. September 12th, like a week or two after the game came out. 0.2.
Interesting enough, if I go down to the user reviews, it only shows 3,000-ish reviews.
Maybe those are just written where they added a...
Oh, maybe. Because it's 2,942 negative, 11 mixed, and 25 positive.
Wow. Wow.
But even in general, the Metacritic is only 63 on PlayStation.
That's terrible.
It's 70 on Xbox. NBA 2K is also getting shit on similarly. 0.9 user review.
Oh my god.
And 69 on PS4 in terms of the critic score.
Nice.
58 on Xbox One. No reviews on the Stadia or Switch version. So it's like, is this like people like this is now people like even the IGN and people like the critics are saying like this is like these are not enough to like justify like releasing the full price game. And I guess like the question is like, A, do you think they even care? Because the sales are still going to be like really dope. But B, do you think this is just because we're at the end of the generation and we've kind of hit the limit of like what they can do, and maybe next year's NFL and NBA on the PS5/Xbox Series X will actually include like legitimate differences and improvements and stuff like that? Because I watched the review for NBA 2K21 and the dude basically said like there's a really good game here, and this is kind of what I was thinking too. Like there's a good game here, but it's just surrounded by the microtransaction shit, and the modes you can't like get VC like microtransactions have basically been untouched.
Oh man.
Like the one where you can like create a league and like you and I can be in the league and just like play teams and stuff like that. Like that's basically been untouched because there's no like VC stuff in it. Whereas like my career and all this stuff has been beefed up because that's where people spend the microtransactions. So it's obviously people are getting sick and tired of like just how like how EA and Take-Two are kind of treating these franchises. But I also, to play devil's advocate, like I wonder if we're kind of at the peak of what they can do, and they're just like running out of things where they're just like, well, fuck, like we've made like 30 of these Madden games, like how much more stuff can we put into this stuff?
Well, they could put the lines on the field, Steve, because it's interesting that some of the huge day one bugs for Madden 21 included misspelling the Seattle Seahawks as the Seattle Seahawks, assigning 3 different NFL teams' logo to the wrong team. Minnesota showed up on the Texans, for example. They introduced a bug that prevented field lines from displaying on the field, so it looked like everyone was playing on this smooth green surface, like tennis or something. There were no sidelines, no yard lines, no hash marks. And Connect Play in the server is like, Maximum Football is by no means perfect, but we have lines on the field.
Should be a box quote.
And so that's embarrassing, Steve. EA's worth like what? I think $9 billion net revenue as of last year.
Something
and
insane,
they couldn't put lines on the field. Do you know how hard it is to play football without lines?
Extremely hard.
Extremely hard. That's embarrassing. I would be embarrassed to have worked on that game. And I'm sure there are so many people putting in crunch, putting in hard hours, getting these EA milestones and deadlines who are like, just like we did it. I'm sure most of the people on that team did everything they could, and even they would probably push for like, hey, it's buggy, do you want to delay it? And EA's like, delay a Madden game, cocks gun, shoots you, throws you out the window. And like from that perspective, I don't blame the studio as much as I blame EA's management and production timeline for this game. But still, it's just.
Do we chalk it up to COVID though? Because we've seen, I mean, NHL got delayed. because of COVID.
Yeah,
and
good. Madden should have got delayed then. That was a decision EA should have made.
No, I know, but that's what I mean. Like, do we give them the benefit of the doubt, saying
never
COVID? No, okay.
Steve, EA made $9 billion last year. If you
I'm
want
looking at their revenue right now. Yeah, it's $5 billion in 2018. Their net income was $1.4 billion. So that's net income. Like after their expenses, they made $1 billion in 2018. What's their stock price at?
The point I'm trying to make here is they could absolutely, if they wanted to, reinvest that money. Instead of having 100 people work 80-hour weeks, you have 200 people work 40-hour weeks. Everyone's better rested, able to focus. And I've read threads from programmers who are like, working overtime and crunching doesn't do anything. Like, I come into the studio the next day and like my sleep deprived brain wrote garbage code I had to rewrite anyway, so I'm just wasting my own time. That's how these types of bugs get in there. Is like, all right, work from home and then work 80 hours and then try to set up our current work setup in your home office and do Zoom calls every couple hours with the team instead of looking over at the cubicle next to you and make a extremely polished AAA football game. It won't work. And so what they should have done, they should have delayed it. They should have hired more people. And there's no excuse with the amount of resources they have to release a game like this.
It's interesting that they delayed NHL 21 because the season, the NHL and NBA season would normally be like starting up now, they'd be going into training camp and stuff like that. But we're like halfway through the playoffs. Football, on the other hand, though, started at normal. They had 20% of the field or the capacity for the Thursday night opener, and training camp I think was a little bit different, but the season started as normal for COVID. So it's interesting that NHL got delayed, Madden didn't get delayed, NBA 2K didn't get delayed, and I don't know if FIFA got delayed or whatever. I don't really pay attention to soccer at all, but I guess I was on the NBA 2K Reddit as well, subreddit, and people are just fuming about the game because it's just there's not really any improvements. And I don't know. I'm just hoping we're kind of hitting an a kind of the peak, as it were, of what people are kind of putting up with. But I wouldn't be surprised if next earnings call Take-Two and EA are both just we made fucking $4 billion through microtransactions in Madden. Thanks for nothing. Yeah, no.
If the bottom line isn't affected, nothing will change. That's how publicly traded companies work. You steer in a straight line of profit until something changes, then you address it. So
but I think it's I think we're on the right track though. Metacritic actually being negative both for user score and critic score is a good start.
It could have a 0 user and critic score, and as soon as it turns a profit that they projected, they don't care.
Yeah, but I mean, these Metacritic scores might affect that.
And I also wonder how many, because these are obviously some of the most popular games on the planet. I honestly wonder how many people care about reviews. I think for the majority of people, they see an ad, their friend's hey, I just got the new Madden, and they just buy it. And I honestly think the people who hyperfixate and pay attention to these things like you and I do, and a lot of hardcore in quotes players do, is a fraction of 0.5% of the people who buy Madden.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I would agree with that, especially because quote unquote gamers, the people who play indie games and stuff like that, there's not probably a huge intersection there of people who also play Madden.
Did you see the UFC thing EA did, where for UFC 4, a couple weeks after it came out, they updated the game to add advertisements in between rounds?
Yeah, I told you about that the last episode.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but that's also
fun.
that's something EA is setting a precedent of adding it into a game after it came out and after the Metacritic score was set.
Yeah. I mean, I know. Well, I think 2K did it first, to be perfectly honest. I'm trying to I'm reading the worst Madden review to see what it kind of says. It's a mess of lazy modes, bad gameplay, and continued descent into focus of over monetized offerings. The yard is a neat idea, though. I don't know. Oh, I think the yard is a similar thing to the thing in NBA. Yeah, it's I don't know. It's just these were kind of the go-to polished games that
all reliable.
I remember. Yeah, and I mean, I remember like Madden was sort of like the one that you would see next gen to kind of see like what they were doing, because like they would be able to push like it, because like you'd always want like amazing animations in sports games. And so they're like sports games used to kind of push the envelope a little bit on it, because they're just always continuously working on like features and animations and things like that for the next year's thing. But now it's kind of like the opposite, where it's just like now all they're really just pushing is like how much money they can get out of their fucking fan base.
100%.
So, I don't know. I'm really, more than anything, I'm just interested to see how next year's is, because it'll be the first one that'll be probably mostly, maybe not even next year. The 2022, I'd imagine, is the first one where the main platform will be like a next gen platform.
I'm more interested in whether independent developers who don't have the license are gonna just capitalize on this decline of mainstream sport games like Maximum Football is, who has a very hardcore crowd and community behind that game because they're football fans making a football game for football fans, and it feels like EA is a shareholder fan making football game for football fans.
There was NBA Playgrounds that Saber Interactive made on Switch and stuff, but then I think the second one just got, like, because it's called NBA 2K Playgrounds, I think they just got bought up to like make it for it was published by 2K Sports. So like that's the thing, like you run into the trouble of like making a good game and then like that the people who publish it just sort of like coming in and just being like, oh, that's great, just put it in our branding, here's a check, and they'll be like, oh, we're an indie game, like we're an indie studio, we need the money. But I mean, it's good. I would want more hockey games, I would want more soccer games, I would want more football and basketball games. Like there should be more. Like it kind of sucks that there's only like one a year, not for football, but like there's only one basketball game once a year or whatever. So
the show is still, I think, from Sony San Diego. I haven't played it in a while, but that was always the one that were like, they know how to make a sports game.
It'll be interesting when that goes multi-platform too, to see if it, because I think it does have
PlayStation exclusive.
Yeah, no, the next one, I'm pretty sure it's the next one will be everywhere.
So who's making it if it's not Sony?
Still Sony.
Interesting.
It was like part of the negotiation with the MLB. Pardon me. I think the MLB was just like, okay, if we're going to give you this license, you can't just put it on PlayStation. Like the MLB is like missing out on revenue and exposure for Xbox and Nintendo. So I'm more than certain it's the next one is going to be on everything.
I wonder if that'll be the first Xbox dev kit in a PlayStation-owned studio.
Yeah, maybe.
All right, that's it for Discord discussion. If you want to get in on this, join our Discord. Easy as that. We like to close out every show, Steve, talking about what we've been playing. This week, as we mentioned at the top, you streamed Marvel's Avengers from your Jet Engine PS4. What do you think still, a couple weeks after launch? Where are you still coming really down on Avengers?
I agree with, like, I think the Metacritic's still around a 70 or whatever. I agree with that. It definitely has some issues. Like, there's actually a lot of bugs. Which is super disappointing. But like I think the foundation they have is pretty good, and like the heroes are really cool. I'm kind of gravitating towards like like some heroes over others. But it's a lot of fun. It's very chaotic, like because it's like 4 players, and you just got like a lot of explosions, a lot of shit just going on, and it's kind of cool.
Kind of like the movies.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's just like eye candy. I'm just having fun with it. Like it's not like the best game in the world, but you know, I think I'll be interested to see how it evolves over the next year or two. Hopefully, you know, they're seeing the numbers that they want to see. You know, when Hawkeye joined and the girl, and Hawkeye girl, I don't know, I forget her name, and Black Panther, I think, was supposed to be revealed, but then they kind of delayed that a little bit based off of the guy passing away. Spider-Man on PlayStation, like we already know like 3 or 4 characters coming. I think that's supposed to be all this year. It just needs a little bit more other stuff. Like there's only 3 main bad guys, and when you're thinking about like how many freaking bad guys there are in this world, like they could do so much better. Apparently you can't replay the campaign either. I'm on the last mission, but like the campaign's actually like really good, and there's some fun missions, and it's a good story. So hopefully they just open that up a little bit. And yeah, I mean the cosmetic stuff, like it's not intrusive at all. Like I've been getting cosmetic plans and stuff like that, and the battle pass. I don't even look at it. I just every now and then get a notification saying like I got like a couple points off it. I'm like cool. I'm in no rush to get it. We'll see if that's changed with like the characters when it's paid or whatever.
Yeah, I'm also curious about that.
Yeah, the one thing is like I almost think like they could do a little bit more with the cosmetics or like with the microtransactions. Like you have like an intro animation there is like an intro animation, but there's no customization to it. Like Dauntless, like when Dauntless, you can like kind of pick how you kind of come into the world. I think that would be cool to like start like getting stuff.
Isn't one of the
and,
skins extremely overpriced? You were telling me about like $15 a skin.
So the individual like skins, like the legendary stuff, is like ends up being like $13, $14, $15 or something like that, which is way too much. Like, why would you do that when you get like 3 or 4 skins in the battle pass that's free? Like, so.
Oh, so you know how many indie games I can get with $15?
Yeah, that's the other thing too. Like you can get a month of Game Pass.
Yeah, that's 100 games, all the EA games.
Yeah, so they need to work on that a little bit. At least I think. I don't know. Maybe
it's also not cross-platform. What's the point of having skins if you're not going to create a big ecosystem of other players?
It might be cross-platform eventually, though.
Maybe. I don't think it'll break the Spider-Man thing, won't it?
Yeah, that's a good point. Actually, I didn't even think about that.
As soon as you start segregating your audience like that, it creates yeah.
I think they have crossplay for PS4 to PS5 and Xbox whatever to Xbox Series X. I think they've confirmed that already, but I don't know.
They have to, because for the first couple of weeks, there'll probably be like less than 1,000 people on PS5 and Series X.
Exactly. And matchmaking was broken. Like I could not find a soul playing matchmaking, and no. I finally got some people today and last night, so I think they fixed that at least, which is stupid that it was even an issue because they had 3 betas. So it's like, what were you like? Was it not working then either? Like it just didn't work for like leading up to launch. Like how do you not get that working? But I'm still enjoying it. I haven't beaten it. My friend beat it, and he's been just doing the kind of missions, and he still likes it. But he sent me like some gifs of bugs and stuff like that. And I saw someone on the IGN's review, and it's very buggy, which is too bad. But maybe they're just trying to rush it before. I'm guessing.
Trying to get out before what? There's nothing. Just delay it.
Well, I'm guessing they wanted it out before the new consoles were out.
Right. So 2 years from now, Steve, is Marvel's Avengers an Anthem or is it a No Man's Sky?
Well, I think it's like a Destiny. I think it's like people like it has that hardcore audience that is really digging it, and people are still kind of playing around. I don't think it's an Anthem. No.
Okay.
I don't think it's a failure. Good. Like I played Anthem and I beat it, and I was like, this game is fucking trash. Like it's not fun. The loot is not fun. People don't like the loot in Marvels because it doesn't change your look, but it has a lot of cool perks and stuff like that still.
I saw Hulk's loot is like a rib cage. Can you explain that to me?
Yeah, so there's like 4 for each one, and it kind of goes like hands, chest, feet, and head, I think. But it's just like holograms when they show it. So like the icon they have for it, like for Iron Man, is like his chest one is like his like beam thingy, right, whatever you call it. But yeah, for Hulk, because he has no clothes, it's just like a rib cage.
So but it's like still just like adamantium rib cage or what?
I guess it's I don't really know. Like it doesn't change the look of your character. It's really just like an icon of like this is the chest part.
And there is that button still at the bottom, like press R2 to automatically min-max everything?
Yeah, it's based off of power, though. So if you have a purple item that's power 10, but it has a lot of cool perks, and then you pick up like a gray or green that's power 12, it will replace the purple with the green, which is usually not what you want. But it's pretty easy to like. The other thing Anthem couldn't do is you couldn't change your gear and shit during the matches, which was so fucking stupid. But in Marvel's Avengers, you can like change the gear in the mid-match, and you can also like level it up. So like each gear has sort of like 5 stages where you can just power it up if you want, based off of like the 20 different like what are the resources. So you can like power up gear like in the middle of a mission, which I think is pretty cool. There was a time where I was like struggling, and then I kind of just ran away, powered up my gear, and came back in and was able to beat it and stuff like that, which I thought was pretty neat. So yeah, it's fun. I think it's definitely better than Anthem, definitely better than Fallout 76. Definitely better than No Man's Sky was. But it's not like, I think Destiny
It's not where
was
it
like
needs
kind
to
of,
be.
yeah, like the thing with these games is like when Destiny came out, it had a lot of the same issues where it's just like kind of it's buggy and it's like missing some content and you want more, and like Destiny was kind of the first like sort of games as a service pseudo MMO game, and it seems like every game that comes out still follows that, where it's like,
well, I mean, technically World of Warcraft was.
World of Warcraft was like a legit MMO though. Like Destiny was sort of like a suit, like you didn't pay a monthly fee to play it like you did WoW.
They just tried to monetize other ways.
Yeah, like actually, did Destiny 1? It was just the expansion passes. I don't think it had microtransactions to start.
I barely remember. I beat Destiny 1, but I don't know.
Yeah, I can't remember. But anyways, I'm kind of I'm enjoying it still, and I'm excited to like play more of it.
You sound lukewarm on it.
Yeah, it's not like, I don't know what I was really expecting. Like it's just it's a fun game, It's like it's not terrible, but it's not great either. And I think if you're kind of on the fence, I think you could just wait for at least the PS5, Xbox Series X one, because like that will just inherently improve like the frame rate, and because it has dipped and like the loading times are kind of brutal.
I mean, I'd hope. You can't guarantee anything.
No, but I would just wait. Like if you're on the fence, like I would just wait for the other characters to come out and all this stuff.
And there's no time on the season pass, right?
There is not, no. So at least, I mean, they could very easily introduce a new season pass or whatever, like the Ultron season or something like that.
Because our theory before last episode was it's going to be characters will be seasoned, so there'll be a new character you buy with their season pass that never expires,
Yeah, and yeah, so like when Hawkeye comes out, his thing will be $10, but it'll never expire. But we'll see if like they introduce just more cosmetics, where it's just like, here's like the Age of Ultron, 60-day season where you can get Age of Ultron parts and build up your little army or something stupid. So we'll see. Okay. It just needs more bad guys too. Like you have this really rich source material, and you collect comic books, which is really like, I always love that in games where you just get to like read or like look at like old comic books and stuff. So it has this like rich history, and it's like the only bad guys in it are Mordok, Abomination, and Taskmaster. And I'm like,
I do like all of those bad guys though.
But I'm just like, how do you only have 3? Like there's you have 6 heroes in this game and only 3 bad guys. Like how do you not have even just like the Crossbones guy, or just like some sort of Hydra person or something like that? Like how do you not just throw these
Hydra's season 7, Steve? You're getting ahead of yourself.
That's true. So it's good shit. I'm glad it was Mordok though, because I'm guessing they kind of wanted to steer away from like Thanos as much as possible.
Yeah,
because Taskmaster it wasn't in the MCU yet, and Abomination was in the Hulk, which is sort of like a forgotten movie.
They're also the new Fortnite one is Galactus, so he's the new bad guy in Fortnite.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I did boot up Fortnite to just see that, because you could be Wolverine and stuff, and then I was like, I don't want to play Fortnite.
No.
I deleted it.
All right, so Marvel's Avengers, lukewarm. Wait if you don't want it today, but if you do, you're going to get an okay game that's probably going to get better.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I have high hopes for the future. My hopes for the future are much higher than what the game is presently.
High hopes for the living.
But it's definitely much better than like some of the failures that have done. Like I liked Fallout 76, no one else did, but Anthem, it's better than Anthem, better than No Man's Sky. So
okay, that's good. That's good.
That's not really saying much.
Shout out to Square Enix Montreal. I don't envy. What it appears happened is they were working on Avengers game, and then maybe a third or 2/3 through development, they were like, actually, this has to be a 10-year live service game, and so a lot of that got shoehorned on.
I think so, because the campaign is actually like legit, and it's actually sort of what we were talking privately about what we wanted Ghost of Tsushima be, which is like these pseudo open world games, and then just like more linear kind of levels, because that's what it is. Like you start in this little open world and has like people to rescue or chests to find, and then you kind of just go to the mission, and then you go into a name base, and that's like a more linear thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that, and I feel like that's what it meant to be, like a single player, like a maybe an online co-op game, but not RPG, not games of service. And then Disney was just like, no, we want to make money off this like in 5 years time. So
could have been an Avengers too, but no one likes to do that anymore.
Yeah, I guess not.
All right, Steve. This week I played Dead by Daylight with some friends from the. I'm in the like hard drive writers group, and they were like, "Hey, we're playing Dead by Daylight," and I was like, "Oh shit, that's on Game Pass," and I was like, "Oh shit, that's a Canadian game I haven't really dabbled with," so I hopped into that. For some reason, I had like 300,000 of the in-game currency. I don't know how I got that, but they were like, "Yeah, that's like $20 worth of stuff." I was like, "Oh, weird." So I had a good start. I like. If you're unfamiliar, Dead by Daylight came out in 2016, developed by Behavior in, I think Quebec City or Montreal. It's one of those two.
One of those places.
The premise is it's like a 4v1 horror game where there's 4 survivors who are trying to turn on these generators to open a door to escape. That's essentially what every round is for them. And there's different hunters who are... Some of them are, a lot of the characters are original Behavior Interactive characters who have like interesting backstories. There's lots of lore in the game I didn't know too. There's like these kids are trying to escape purgatory or something. I don't know. I didn't dabble with that too much, but there is like a really deep lore to the game I didn't know. Mm-hmm. But the interesting thing for me personally about Dead by Daylight is the promotions with actual horror properties. So Steve and Nancy from Stranger Things are in there, and the Demogorgon is one of the hunters. The blonde girl from Silent Hill 2 is a survivor, and the Pyramid Head is one of the hunters. And it's every hunter acts differently, and they have very different like hunting patterns and abilities. And as soon as like you don't know at the start of the round who the hunter is, like keeps that information hidden from you. So like the first time you see the hunter, I'm like calling to my team like, okay, it's this person, watch out for this. Suddenly you're looking out for traps because that hunter lays traps, and that like real like reveal of the hunter is kind of like what it is in the movie, like the first time they make a kill. And I think they translated that experience from horror movies and TV shows to the game really well. And the other thing is all of the survivors are kind of different. They have their own things unique to their skill tree that give them certain pluses and minuses. Mm-hmm. And at the beginning of every round, each player can add an offering, which is a slight bonus that might affect everyone, just you or the map or something. And you can start the game with an item, whether it's a med kit or a toolbox or something. And those are sort of the consumables they make their money off of. You buy those, or you can buy those. You can spend the currency on those. You can also spend them on the survivors, and each survivor has their own skill tree. You level up from 1 to, I don't know what the max is. It's really, really good, Steve. I had so much fun playing Dead by Daylight. I played with 3 other people on voice chat, so we were like a group working together. If the hunter catches you, they have to sacrifice you on one of these hooks. They like put it through your shoulder, and you sort of hang there. And if that happens 3 times, you die. But while you're on the hook, teammates can come like pull you off and like heal you. And it's very reliant on sort of learning the levels and calling out things, because there's no map, there's no compass even, there's no player IDs above any of your teammates. It's very much like the horror, like it feels like I'm struggling out here with some other teens trying to not die, and I really, really like it. And I slept on this game for way too long, but it's on Game Pass. I highly recommend it, and I'd love to play with you sometime if you want.
It's it must have been a PlayStation Plus game at some point, because I have it and I'm downloading it now on PS4. It's
really good. I was so surprised by how great this game was.
It has a lot of DLC. So it has the Silent Hill stuff.
Yeah. It has the Stranger Things pack, Evil Dead.
Do you have that on Xbox as part of the Game Pass, or is it just the base game?
You just buy the in-game currency, I think, and then you can buy that stuff. And then you can also buy packs to buy them too. So like if you just want the Silent Hill pack or the Stranger Things pack or whatever, you can just get all that.
I'm down for playing on PS4.
And Steve, you know what? They just added cross-play, so we can play together.
Oh, so you can just play on Xbox and then
exactly.
It has so much DLC.
It's a lot.
There's so much DLC trophies. It has 13 DLC packs of trophies.
the main achievements, as far as I could tell, were like, be the last person on your team and turn on the last generator and escape, or like all these like in-game challenges. Those are the kind of achievements I like. I don't like things you're just gonna get anyway, or I'm trying to think of a good example. Win 5 games in a row.
Yeah. Oh man.
But I like these kind of like things that might happen naturally, or things you can like try to do in a game, but are still working towards the objective. As soon as an achievement has you not working towards the main objective in a multiplayer game, terrible achievement, because it just fucks over your team.
I'm downloading on PS4. We can maybe even try streaming tonight.
Oh, we could absolutely stream it. I would love to play with you, because this game, it's huge. It's a huge game. It came out 4 years ago, and it's still making money. And so it's just me.
And it's
and
they just announced it has the PS5, Xbox Series X free update, right? So
there we go. You'll be able to play it with even more people if you get it on your PS4 now with game. Wait, so you got it on PS4 with PS Plus, and you're going to get it on PS5 for free?
Yeah, I
That's
think. Didn't they announce that?
I think so. I don't know.
Ooh, my battery's running low. We're gonna
wrap this up. I also played Nuclear Throne. Shout out to Vlambeer. They got shut down, or they chose to close the studio after their next game comes out, and they're kind of one of like the OG indie studios. So I booted up Nuclear Throne again just to remember the one that started it all. It was really good.
Mm-hmm. I don't think I've ever played it.
It's a roguelike. So, well, actually, you unlock other characters, but everything is reset every time you die. But it's a very, very short roguelike. Like, if you complete a run, it's like a 10 or 15-minute run.
Okay.
Yeah. What else do you play this week, Steve? You got time for that?
I got the Platinum in Ghost of Tsushima.
Too long.
In the end,
been linear, you said?
Yeah, it should have been like, it's definitely the most disappointing Sucker Punch game. In the end, it's a good game. Like, it has a really good story, and some of the like major side quests like are really good. The combat's fun. It's just the open world shit is, I just didn't want to do it. Like, there's like 50 foxes that you just go to a map, like a question mark on the map, and then it's like, okay, the fox leads you to this area, and I'm like, how is this any more, like, how is this any different than just going to the question mark to begin with and just like unlocking whatever it is? So
and you're not even getting cool shit. You're getting like 50 different headbands you don't care about.
Yeah, and so I was just like, whatever. And then I did download Tony Hawk because you kind of convinced me. So I did play a little bit of Tony Hawk. It's really good. It's super polished and just a lot of fun. It's got the soundtrack too. Like,
it has so like the original Tony Hawk Pro Skater had 12 songs or 14 songs, and this new one has like almost 100. Like, it's they kept all the original songs, of course, or I think as many as they could. There's some licensing, but they added so many great new songs that really capture the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is. It captures like that skating era. So I played a little bit of that. It's dope. Like, it's super fun. It's but I didn't really get a chance to play that much this week just because it was a busy week. But Ghost of Tsushima, Plat, delete that. Tony Hawk, that was fun. Avengers, still pretty fun.
Still pretty fun. Yeah. All right, everyone. That's it for episode number 159 of the CanadianGameDevs.com podcast. Thank you so much for listening. If you want to help us keep the site running, covering the Canadian game dev scene, you can support us over at patreon.com/CanadianGameDevs. Like our 2 new patrons, who I want to shout out. I should look them up quick. One of them hopped on our Discord, Eric B. Thank you so much, Eric, for your support. And, Steve, I should have found the other one too. I have to log in. Forget that. I'm sorry. I'll shout you out at the next week's. So again, thank you so much for your support. And if you want to join these people, head over there to get special 2-day early access to the show at any level, special merch at different levels. So, shop around for what kind of merch you want. You can also get Patreon exclusive discount codes for different Canadian gaming events, as well as occasional game key giveaways. Steve and I got lots of codes we're giving away. Boris Rabel is the other patron. Thank you so much, Boris. Great, very strong British name. And if you want to join Boris and Eric, you should do that. I think you should do that. Steve thinks you should do that too.
Yes, exactly.
If you are listening on Apple Podcasts, please drop us a review. We'd love to know what you think, as well as any feedback non-Apple platform. You can send an email to contact@CanadianGameDevs.com. And of course, we close out the show listing our patrons who backed us higher than $1 a month. So a huge shout out to Aaron McLeod, Elizabeth Avery, Hanel, Jean Leggett, Jeff Shepstone, Jeffrey Canham, now Eric Beer, Kai Hutchins, M5 Games, Nicholas A. Zorko, Nav from the Academy of Games, Pixelnuts_Alex, Sean Hayden, Slaughter and Echo, and Stacy H. Thank you so much for your support. Again, if you want to join these patrons at the end of the video and audio version of this podcast, support us at higher than $1 a month. Patreon.com/Canadian Game Devs. You can find us on Twitter at Canada Game Devs, on Facebook and Instagram, Canadian Game Devs, and contact at CanadianGameDevs.com for everything else. Where can people find you, Steve?
Stephen L. Crane on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and TikTok. But Canada Game Devs is where I want you to go. Now that Raptors are out, it's just going to be depressing.
It's just going to be sad.
Yeah. Just whatever.
Find me on Twitter at STEPHANREILLY. You can also just go to at Canada Game Devs, and both Steve and I are linked in the profile description.
Though I did have a tweet this week that I was quite proud of. It was the when because anytime monetary value is discussed about GameStop, someone makes that joke about like, oh, did they buy it for like 15 cents, or I'll trade you in for and I did the Django one where he's like fake laughing or whatever.
Yeah, so it's just like Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah, it's like always the joke, and I'm like, oh my god, guys, get over
it. So classic. I had a severely underappreciated meme this week. It was I've been playing a lot of Blaseball, and so when you win, you get these notifications in the side that people like to take pictures of. So it's the butterfly guy from that anime, and it's like, is this whatever? So I have like all my winnings on the right side, me, and then the bottom is this Moneyball?
Oh, I saw that. I just didn't get it, though.
Oh, okay. Well, that explained it. I also photoshopped the Xbox Series S on its side. Kind of looks like a hot plate at a diner that you'd put those coffee pots on. And I called it the Microsoft Series C.
For coffee.
Anyway, that's it. If you want more content like that, definitely go follow us all on Twitter. Thank you so much for listening. Stay safe out there. Keep 2 meters. Wash your hands. Don't cough on.
Don't touch your face.
Don't touch your face. Yeah. Toodles.
Bye. And boom goes the dynamite.